I've personally coached hundreds of crypto investors, and many of them have made tons of money in working with me. And after working directly with investors just like you, I've seen all the mistakes in the book. In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 brutally honest lessons that everyone learns too late in crypto. And this is based on real world experience coaching real investors just like you. So here's lesson 1. I think almost everyone in crypto is an ant. And I know that sounds random, but let me explain. Ants kind of just follow a pheromone trail, right? They're kind of ant behind ant, and you just follow the ant in front of you. You're following that smell, and you don't know where you're going. You're just going somewhere because you're chemically just bound to this idea that you smell, you go. And it's very predictable, right? Similarly, if you've got a neighboring ant tribe next to you and they're kind of encroaching on your territory, the ants just kind of react in a specific way, and a different pheromone trail is sent out specifically for the warrior ants, and they go out and they go and fight the other ants. It's like really predictable, and they do the same thing over and over again. I've realized that crypto investors do the exact same thing, except the chemical trail that they're actually following is emotion. It's fear, it's greed and hype. But when I step back and looking at this in my own portfolio growth, going from absolute nothing, pennies, to a multi 6-figure portfolio in a very short period of time, I can see the change that happened in me, and I see the change happen in my students too. And it's actually the moment you start looking down at the anthill, like a human looking down at an anthill, that's the moment where the portfolio starts to grow. And I know it sounds strange. Most people think that it's the crypto you buy that starts that wealth. It's actually not. A lot of it is made in the perspective change that you have to undergo to see that wealth transformation. And from this observer's perspective, looking down at the anthill, it's so predictable. You can see the apple that they're all going towards. You can see the leaf that they're trying to drag back to the anthill. You can see the neighboring ant tribe that they're going to fight with. You can see all of it happening from above. And it's so interesting that you could actually, even in many ways, and this does happen with humans too, and markets, you can start to manipulate the market, right? If I'm a big company and I've got lots of food, I can place an apple in a specific place, knowing that as soon as one ant gets the pheromone trail, that everyone predictably is going to go towards that apple, because the ants are going to line up and go for it. It's predictable. So to be successful in crypto and investing, you have to step back and take an observer's perspective. See the emotional patterns playing out perfectly, and ultimately stop following this emotional trail that is leading to these terrible chemical decisions in your body. Think outside of that. Don't just follow the ant in front of you. But even if you do stop following the ant in front of you, there's something extra that you need to understand. And it's something I've seen countless investors getting wrong, and it's costing them the most valuable asset of all. And it's not money. And it's a massive shame, but the kind of classic journey for all investors is typically to just spend about 4 years learning, right? You think you get in, you think you know what you're doing, you realize you don't know what you're doing, then you accumulate, and then you have to wait for the next bull run, and 4 years goes by. In that time, you're watching all of these white papers and every video that comes out from every single person, every article that comes out, every tweet, and it's exhausting. I actually ran the numbers, right? From age 0, so from the day of birth, like my newborn child that was born 16 days ago, you actually have, when you remove all of the time that you spend working, all the time that you spend on the toilet, cooking, eating, all of that, when you remove it all at age 0, looking at a full life, you have 8 years of available free time. 8. Many of you watching this video, and I know from the statistics of this channel, basically all of you are above the age of 40. Almost all of you are above the age of 40. So I'd estimate that you probably have less than 3 years left to actually spend doing things that you want to do, things that will make you feel fulfilled, things that will actually give you fulfillment, things that will actually bring you enjoyment, and start building that legacy. And knowing that has completely changed how I invest. I can't emphasize that enough. It has completely changed how I invest. And every time I've told that to one of my students and talked about it in depth, they've gone through the modules, they've really taken it in. It's changed them as well. It can't not, because we all know that time is the most valuable asset. It's not money. So I think we should stop using our time to obsess over every piece of information that comes out, watching every video, reading every article. I think that's actually a waste of time. And I will die on this hill. I think you actually only need 20% of the knowledge to get 80% of the result. But most of us are in this complete cycle, this endless cycle of thinking that 20% isn't enough and trying to get to 100, when really that 20% to 100% step that you're trying to make is really mostly filled with watching YouTube videos, reading articles, and convincing yourself that you have this knowledge gap. And it's a knowledge gap you don't have. And the returns on filling that knowledge gap are so minimal that in my mind, it's basically pointless. So the only logical way to move from here is that you need a systemized approach to your crypto investing. So you basically need to have everything automated. And so that these things can execute while you spend that remaining time that you have with family, with friends, enjoying things, learning a new skill, becoming a better person, becoming healthier, building the legacy that I know you want, instead of just staring at screens that whole time. We don't have the time to waste. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. But even protecting your time isn't enough. And certainly if you're not protecting your portfolio at the same time. And most people have zero idea as to how to balance a portfolio properly. And I think it causes people to make the biggest mistake of all. So let's get into lesson number 3. Have you ever heard of the word hedging? Most people think hedging is actually just protecting from downside, right? So if the end of the world happens, I'm going to hedge myself and buy loads of water. I don't know, an asset that would be valuable in that environment. But I actually view hedging as positioning yourself for any eventuality, good or bad. And most of the investors that I work with have basically never ever done this. So I actually built a spreadsheet that's incredibly useful for people who've never done this before. And it allows you to balance your portfolio exactly how it should be. And it's not me telling you how it should be. It's not someone else telling you how it should be. It's actually all informed by how you view the world, the things that you think will happen in the world, and what assets make the most sense based on that eventuality. And it's all done based on your confidence of that eventuality taking place. And that's all going to sound very convoluted. I'm aware. It's actually very simple. I've even got a tutorial video in the spreadsheet for you to watch. I explain it. There's basically no way you can get this wrong. Anyone, regardless of your age and technical ability, can take part in the spreadsheet and actually get a portfolio that's properly structured at the end of it. All you have to do is download that spreadsheet for free in the description. Once you have balanced your portfolio properly, basically all the risk of your investing goes away. Because if the price goes up, you're hedged properly. If the prices go down, you're hedged properly. If a war breaks out, you're hedged properly. If inflation takes place, you're hedged properly, so on and so forth. And it's the proper construction of your portfolio that allows you to benefit when the prices go up and not lose out as bad as everyone else in the market when the prices go down. And I would say that's a pretty good spot to be in. But even with perfect hedging, I see investors constantly panic buying all the time because they feel like they've got no time left. This is the last opportunity to buy, which brings me to the next lesson. One of the most asked questions in all of my YouTube videos is it too late to buy right now? Will the prices ever come back down to give me an opportunity to buy again at this price? And people will typically just panic buy because they completely misunderstand how markets work. So what people think is that there's a 99% chance that the price will never come back down to where it is today when they're about to make that decision. And they only have a 1% chance that the price will come back down. So they have another opportunity to buy. But in fact, the reality of the situation is that it's actually the complete opposite. Typically, when you're buying and the price is going up and you're thinking, will I ever get a chance to buy at this price ever again? The likelihood is about 99% chance that you will have another opportunity to buy at that price again. And it's very difficult to explain. Go to a chart and look at the price movement of any crypto. You'll see that it goes up and down constantly. When it goes up a lot, it typically goes down a lot, giving everyone opportunities again. On a very rare occasion, at the peak of a bull run, do I think it's warranted to say there won't be another opportunity. But in terms of time, those parabolic moves take place over such a short period of time that compared to the rest of the market and the time of the market, it's even less than 1%. I just said 1% so it looked clean. So I would say stop panicking. You will always have more time. There will always be another opportunity, basically always another opportunity to buy. Be patient, and you will get those entries where you want them. I think if you remove FOMO, you completely remove half of all the stress that you can encounter in crypto. But being patient doesn't mean mindlessly following what everyone else does in crypto, because there's another mistake that's so mind-numbingly painful. You'll rethink any advice you've ever heard before. So lesson 5 is all about this idea of dollar cost averaging. If you don't know, DCA or dollar cost averaging is when you buy every so often. You can buy every day, every hour, however you do it, the cadence is consistent and equidistant and you do it consistently over time. This is what all the advice from the rich people say. You should dollar cost average through the ups and the downs. Obviously, you're buying at really high prices and you're buying at really low prices, but it's the most hands-off, easiest way to invest. I just don't think anyone's getting generational wealth from dollar cost averaging. And I think most people doing that are unknowingly wasting a ton of money. Now, I built my multi-six-figure portfolio from basically nothing, from a less than minimum wage job at the time, by only investing using what I call the red day DCA method. So whenever you get the prices in crypto as a market as a whole dropping kind of 7 to 10% or even more, that's the day where I would buy. I would start accumulating during those days. If there's ever a green day in the market where the prices are positive or even as close as like 4% down, this is not a day that I would buy. Someone who's dollar cost averaging every day would buy on that day, but my red day DCA strategy doesn't allow for that. You have to see significant price drops. There will always be more significant price drops, just relating that back to the previous lesson there. You'll always have another opportunity. There will always be another red day, and you're getting way more effective entries using that strategy than you would just simply dollar cost averaging. To add another layer to this, if you want to be an expert in red day DCA, you're actually only buying within a certain time period as well. So certain red days within a certain time period. This can be calculated, that's a different video, I think. But you can really hone in if we're only buying over this 1 year time period, that's typically where the lows come in, and we're only buying on red days, you're in a position to accumulate significantly more crypto than you would just dollar cost averaging blindly. Red day DCA beats mindless DCA any day. That kind of rhymes, but I won't make it my job. But even the best strategies in the world will not help you create this generational wealth unless the mindset behind it can follow. And this is lesson 6, because I think most investors put responsibility for whether their wealth happens based on luck, essentially, right? Or a specific coin. But the real difference maker, and I've seen this in myself building my portfolio, and I've seen it in my clients who have portfolios anywhere from $30,000 all the way up to $20 million. And it's that the difference between success and failure, and this is going to sound crazy. I know it is. You're going to be like, oh, what is he talking about? It's how you view yourself. And look, you're not going to get typical crypto stuff on this channel, okay? We're approaching things differently here. So if you enjoy these types of videos, please hit like. It lets me know that you do in fact like them, and I can continue to make videos that you like. I realized, and I've talked with countless millionaires at this point now, and it's one of the wonderful perks of being in this position, having this channel, is that every single successful investor viewed themselves as successful, or that they would be successful before they were. They identified themselves as a successful person before the success had actually happened. And it's that identity of self that changes their decision making on a day-to-day basis. It's those different decisions that they make that yielded the results of wealth. And this goes for the negative too, right? You can define yourself as someone who's unlucky. So guess what? Everything that happens in your day would be unlucky. You're constantly telling yourself, I'm unlucky. And your actions, the decisions you're making, are affirming that reality. Therefore, you just become an unlucky person. You become the victim. You see how this identity of self changes the decisions that you make and ultimately changes your situation, changes your life. Or, and this is the worst one, keeps your life just the way it is. The decisions you're making today, the way you identify yourself today, have yielded exactly the result to create who you are today, what you have today, the portfolio you have, the car you drive. Everything is dictated by how you've identified yourself. It trickles down. So if you see yourself as someone hesitant or cautious, every decision you make will have this flavor of caution and hesitation. If you view yourself as someone who is healthy and athletic, you will just make decisions to exercise and walk past McDonald's. If you view yourself as someone who's adventurous, you will make adventurous decisions, and your life as a result will become adventurous. It's actually very simple. So why do we continue to define ourselves blindly as we are what we are? And if you are what you are, you get what you've always got. And if you get what you've always got, nothing will change. How can you expect to build generational wealth by being the same person, making the same decisions, by identifying yourself the same way as you currently do right now? There actually has to be a change. And finally, here is the biggest mistake of them all. And this section alone, I know, is going to make so many of you want to leave because you're just offended. And it's lesson 7, and it's the sad truth. Basically, most of the decisions that investors are making right now are someone else's decisions that they're just copying because they've never actually done the work to figure the stuff out for themselves. It's far, far easier to look at someone on YouTube and just copy what they're doing without realizing that the plan that that person has is based on their risk tolerance, their stress tolerance, their personality test, their life history, their worldview, not yours. So you're inheriting all of their problems, all of their mistakes, perhaps, hopefully, some of their successes in their decision making, and you're just inheriting that yourself and saying, that's good enough. Like, no, it's got to be based on you. I want people to realize something, and it's that content creators, when you see them on YouTube, benefit from your confusion. They don't benefit from your education, okay? So it's actually more of a dependency play. When they make content, they want to leave you with gaps, leave you with this perceived understanding that you need more knowledge and you need to turn up next time. So if you turn up next time, we can actually give you the information that you need to know to become wealthy. And it's a game that all content creators play. But I want you to realize that the free content that you're watching online is entertainment and not education. It's entertainment. If it's a news show about crypto, it's entertainment. It's there for your entertainment. It's not helping you in any way. It's not educating you in any way. It's entertaining. And it grabs you. It makes you dependent on watching the next video. Because if you watch the next video, they get paid on ads on that next video and they make more money. You're almost convinced that you need to know more to be successful. When I started to see things that way and when I kind of realized, because I've played that game, right? I've been a content creator in the crypto space for a few years here now. I saw it and I realized, oh, actually, I don't like that game. It makes me feel quite uncomfortable. It makes me feel stressed. And I don't want to spend the short amount of time that I have left on Earth stressing. Okay, so it's not a game I was going to play anymore. But I finally realized why people endlessly struggle, and it's because of that. They're copying someone else's plan, inheriting someone else's idea of the world. So the lesson here is to actually do the work required to figure out who you are. You know, how much does your desired lifestyle actually cost? Do you need $100 million? Or is that just like pulled out of your butt because someone said a price prediction? Or did you actually go in a spreadsheet and actually calculate exactly how much it costs to live as your ideal self with your ideal life? You know, have you looked at the risks that you're comfortable taking and risks that you're not comfortable taking? The big brutal lesson here is invest based on what you personally know about the world and not what other people have told you. Because it's purest, and I would hedge to say it's more successful when it comes from you. So I think these 7 lessons will actually take you about 20% of the way to having everything you need to know about how to create a system that works for you in crypto to make this bull run the one that turns your life into a lifetime of wealth and freedom. But I've got a challenge for you, and it's in a free video. It's linked below. I think that's going to give you the remaining 80% of what you need to know to build out this system. You know, the link is in the description, or you can click somewhere on the screen here, and it'll take you straight over to that video. I think it's the only video that you need to turn this bull run into the most successful one yet and have a lifetime of wealth and freedom. I'll see you over there.